Oh, cool. All right. It looks like besides me, there's one other person there. Welcome, welcome to the 25 All-Star Hydrangeas. I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the horticulture information specialist, and I have worked with Tony Fulmer for over 20 years. And oh my gosh, I've been here 30 years, and he's been here more than that. And so we've worked together 30 years. We were actually when he was the manager of the retail store, I was the manager of the learning center, and we collaborated on the learning center quite often. And so I'm giving him total credit for preparing this presentation, but he got called out of town to help a friend in a medical emergency. And so I'm filling in for him. So we're going to have fun. The hydrangeas are just the stars of the summer garden. So this is a really fun presentation. So we'll get started in 10 minutes. Thank you for signing on early. Welcome, everybody. I see people logging in, and we'll get started right at noon. And you were sent the link to the webinar, and then also there should be a separate link to the handout with all this information. And this is what I'll be presenting to you today, so you don't have to break your wrist taking notes, okay? It's a beautiful, beautiful summer day today, isn't it? Even though they're talking about it getting so hot, the nice thing is the humidity isn't quite as bad as it could be. So it's a lovely day outside. Water, water, water. Boy, we are really in a drought. So that's if the one message I can get across today is water, water, water all your plants. And that's everything: the lawn, the trees, shrubs, all your annuals, your vegetables. Make sure you keep them well watered and keep track of the amount of rain you have at your house. Okay. People are signing on. We're not going to start for 8 minutes, but I'm here. Jennifer Brennan is my name. I'm the horticulture information specialist at Chalet. You might have seen me at the microscope. So, or up in the learning center. COVID sure did a job on us with the learning center, but it's been a really fun learning experience. And what's been great is all of you have really enjoyed and have supported our virtual learning center with these webinars. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do going forward. I anticipate that we'll probably doing live presentations in the Learning Center when things all clear up, plus webinars, because I think people really like the convenience of just logging on. And I think we'll look at it a little differently when this is not the only way to see a presentation through Zoom. But it's been a learning situation, isn't it? And then with our masks. So okay, let's see. We still have 5 people. Always come in at the last minute. So Jennifer Brennan is my name, and today's presentation is 25 All-Star Hydrangeas. And Tony Fulmer put this presentation together. So there are actually, he called it a bonus, there are actually 26 plants that we're going to be talking about. So, what he has done in the past is he's tested people after the presentation to see if they caught that there's one more than 25 all-star hydrangeas. But and the ones we're featuring today are ones that we have in stock. So be sure and come in and plan to add one to your garden. So let me check again. Hi, everybody. Excellent. We have 6 minutes until start, and you got the link to the webinar, and then a link to the the outline with all the details on it. So everything I'm going to be discussing and highlighting is on this handout. So you can just sit back and enjoy the show. We've got Tony was able to get some beautiful photos, of the plants, showing them in bloom, and then also showing some fall color, which, these plants have just tremendous fall color. So I'm going to show you the whole thing, and then I'm going to give you the secret. It's not a secret, but it's the formula. How about that? The formula, and I've added that to this presentation. The formula, if you want to keep the macrophylla types blue, so it's easy. It's easy. It's it just takes dedication. Is that fun? So welcome everybody. We have people signing on. I will do the presentation, and then I'll answer questions afterwards. And I just ask that you use the Q&A column to enter your question rather than the chat. It's the Q&A is easier for me to keep track of questions that have come in and the questions that I answer. So if you use that Q&A column, I'll make sure I address all the questions at the end of the presentation. So welcome everybody to 25 All-Star Hydrangeas. If you're looking for Tony Fulmer, he prepared all this information, and I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm going to be presenting it because Tony got called out of town on a medical emergency for a dear friend, and and the friend is okay, but Tony's just going out to help him after some major surgery. So and because of all this COVID, they didn't know when the surgery was going to get scheduled, all that kind of stuff, and so it kind of caught him off guard, and it caught our events manager off guard. So it's a good thing. I love the hydrangeas as much as Tony Fulmer does. So I think you'll be happy with the presentation. So welcome aboard, everyone. Where everyone's checking in. Jennifer Brennan here. Hi, welcome to 25 All-Star Hydrangeas. If you're looking for Tony Fulmer's smile, he's out of town and I'm filling in for him. So he got called out of town to help a friend in a medical emergency, and the manager of our events center asked if I would step in, and you're lucky because I love hydrangeas as much as Tony Fulmer does. So you've got his outline. It was emailed to you. It's a separate link than the link to the webinar. So kind of look at that on your email. You might even have a separate email with the outline on it. And all the topics I'm going to be highlighting are on this outline. So welcome. We're just 3 minutes away from start. People are checking in. Welcome, everyone. This is the 25 All-Star Hydrangeas, a program that was put together by Tony Fulmer. He got called out of town on a medical emergency to help a friend. And so I'm stepping in, and I'm going to be presenting all of his information. So he coached me well, okay? We'll get started in 2 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Perfect. We have beautiful photos. Tony selected all the photos of these different plants. I actually enhanced a few, and also added some of the information on the care of the hydrangeas. So I think you'll go away today with a lot of good information. All right, still 2 minutes away. People checking in. Thank you. Beautiful day today. Absolutely beautiful day. I'm not surprised that there are probably a lot of people in their gardens today rather than coming inside to hear a webinar. 11:59. Welcome, everyone. This is the 25 All-Star Hydrangeas, And Tony Fulmer actually put the presentation together, and but he got called away for to help a friend who'd had some surgery, and so with the COVID thing, they didn't know when the surgery was going to get scheduled, and then it got scheduled, and so it kind of conflicted with this date. So Tony's trained me well, and I'll be doing the presentation today. Jennifer Brennan is my name. I'm the horticulture information specialist here at Chalet. You've probably seen me at the microscope or at the Plant Information Center or up in the Learning Center. I used to manage the Learning Center before COVID. So it's noon. Welcome, everyone. We've got a lot of people that signed up. Today's presentation is 25 all-star hydrangeas. And I know you're probably expecting to see Tony Fulmer's smiling face here. I'm Jennifer Brennan. Tony got called out of town for a medical emergency to help a friend who had surgery. And so I'm filling in. And you also received the outline in a separate a link, either on the email with the link to the webinar, or it might even be under a separate email. But you can print this up, and it's all the details that I'll be covering today in this presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share the screen because we've got beautiful photos today. And welcome. Ooh, those numbers are popping up. I'm Jennifer Brennan, and I've said this over and over. Tony Fulmer got called out of town to help a friend who had surgery. And so I'm filling in for Tony today. These are all Tony's slides and photos and Tony's information on the outline. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Oh, wait a minute, she says. There we go. And here it is. I'm sharing the screen. I'm going to do the presentation first, and then I'll answer any questions after the presentation is finished. Please put your questions in the Q&A column rather than the chat box. It's easier for me to track the questions when they come in. So, but I'll make sure I answer all the questions as we go along. Okay, and this is, here we go, from oh, don't do that. From beginning. Here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. Beautiful, beautiful Oakley Hydrangea to start the show. Okay. Now, there are 5 different categories of hydrangeas, and that's why people are so confused, by them. And so it really helps to know which variety that you have. And I'm going to start by introducing you to the smooth hydrangeas, or it's Hydrangea arborescens. The smooth hydrangeas, they're actually native to our area. The flowers actually occur on current year stems. And so it's part shade. These really like part shade. It's preferred to be in part shade. It will even tolerate deeper shade than most of the other hydrangeas, but there will still be flowering produced, even if it's reduced, accordingly to the lower light levels. Okay, when these are established, they are somewhat drought tolerant. Use small quantities of low percentage nitrogen fertilizer in early spring, and then and that's usually enough. I'm going to show the best fertilizer at the very end of the presentation that you can use on all the hydrangeas, and I'll explain why. It's the Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom Booster, and that was a tease. Okay, all right. No winter protection is needed on the smooth hydrangeas at all. Just any amount of pruning is tolerated on these, just as long as it's done in the late winter or actually early spring. And these are hardy to zone 3, which is really nice. So they don't ever, and for many years, these were the only hydrangeas we could enjoy in our gardens here in Northern Illinois. Annabelle is probably the all-time favorite, and it's noted for its huge, large, these are up to 12 inches in diameter. They're the flowers that are here in June all the way through July. And they go from a green, like a pale green, you can see in the photo of the close-up of the flower over on, it would be on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see that pale green, then they go to, a white, and then they eventually go to like a paper bag brown through the winter months. They sucker from the base, and the whole shrub will increase in girth over time. They're usually 4 to 5 feet tall, and they can usually each planting will end up being 4 to 5 feet wide. Annabelle was a selection by Dr. McDaniel. He was a professor when both Tony and I were at school at University of Illinois. Tony was ahead of me. He graduated before I got there. And then I actually knew Dr. McDaniel too. And it was actually selected in the town of Anna, Illinois. So that's where the name Annabelle came from. Isn't that cool? We'll test you later. Or that's something you could go to a trivia contest and win. Okay, now the next one, Incredibelle. Incredibelle was developed, I think Incredibelle was developed, it's been in the last 10 years. And Incredibelle is like an Annabelle on steroids. That's Tony's terms. And each bloom has up to 4 times as many flowers per bloom as the Anna, does. And it's supposed to have heavier, thicker stems, so it supports the flower better. I love that, and I love that. That's actually in Tony's italics in his notes. It's supposed to have heavier stems. I think it's pretty true, but these are huge, huge flower heads. Okay, now this is oh goodness, this is a new one. Did I go 2? I know, here we go. Okay, so this is one called Mini Mauvette, and it's a new dwarf variety, and it's more dwarf than its siblings, and it only matures at 30 to 36 inches tall and about 3 to 4 feet wide. It has very interesting pink mauve flowers that soften to a dusty silver rose. And it's touted as a rebloomer throughout the season. It has very strong stems, so it is a wonderful, smaller hydrangea. This would actually be nice in a container as well. Okay, now Invincibelle Ruby, it has deep rose red buds, and they open up to a ruby red, flushing to paler pink. You can see in this photo how they open up to like that paler pink. It has ruby undertones on the underneath sides of the petals. It's very nice dark green foliage and very strong stems, and it goes 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Okay, I don't know what happened to the Invincibelle Lametta. My photo, is it here? Oh, there it is. Wake up, Jennifer. Okay, the Invincibelle Lametta. These are just beautiful dome-shaped flower heads, and they start with this gorgeous lime green, which is just subtle, very subtle out in the landscape, and then they mature to a very soft jade green, darker jade green. It's so unique out in the landscape. And you can think of this one as a dwarf Annabelle with greenish flowers on very strong self-supporting stems. And you need to make sure this gets at least 5 to 6 hours of direct sunlight daily, though, to keep these huge flower heads going. These are 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. Okay, here we go. Now, big leaf hydrangea, or Hydrangea macrophylla. So macro means big, phylla means leaf. So that's where the common name comes from. These are from Japan. There are 2 types. There are the mop heads, which has the big round heads, or the lace caps. Now, lace caps have a combination of fertile flowers, and the fertile flowers are little tiny flowers, and then the sterile flowers are the ones that have the big petals, and the center are the fertile flowers, and then the sterile flowers are around the edge, and that makes it look like a lace cap. And this has the potential to flower on new wood and old wood. And that's because of the new cultivars that were developed in the last 10 years, based from the endless summer cultivar. So for many years, the hydrangea macrophyllus only produced flowers from old wood. So that meant wood that was there last summer and survived over the winter. The newer hybrids have introduced the chance of getting the flowers on new wood, new wood and old wood. These prefer part shade, and you really should plan on giving them winter protection. And the winter protection for these means using like a chicken wire round cage around the plant. And then you fill it so that it's at least 8 to 12 inches deep with a small chunk bark. And that protects that old wood. So you have 6 to 8 inches of old wood where the new shoots can come from, and it will guarantee that you get flowers. Now, kind of going back, I'll leave the color up here on the screen. This winter was really mild. We did not get cold temperatures until February. And when we did get the cold temperatures, it happened after we had 4 feet of snow. So I am predicting that all of these macrophylla hydrangeas are going to actually do something this year, especially the endless summer ones. We don't even feature endless summer because the nickname for it is endless disappointment, because they were introduced 15 years ago, and then they were in about 5 years, and we had a really weird spring where everything had warmed up, and then the temperatures dropped from 42 one day down to I believe it was 27 degrees. All these plants had started actively growing, filled with water. All the cells are filled with water, and they froze back to the ground. All the stems froze back to the ground, and a third of the roots froze off these plants. They didn't do anything for 5 years, boy. So now, after saying that, and everyone calling them, endless disappointment or endless bummer instead of endless summer, Bloomstruck is the wonderful. You know what? I'm racing ahead. These varieties all have the potential to flower on new wood and old wood. On new plants, you want to keep pruning a minimum to try to save old wood. You don't want to prune too much. Okay. And a lot of people treat them like the Annabelles, where they cut them down to 8 inches from the ground. Don't do that. And what you want to do, you want to prune at least 1 inch off the tips. And you can see the tip on the right hand photo. This is starting to bud up already. Before you would see flower buds, you would prune 1 inch off the tip. You're going to get rid of the terminal bud, and because that has a hormone in it. When you prune that up, the hormone can go to all the laterals, and then they flower more heavily on the lateral buds and the lateral shoots. If you also use great fertilizer, and again, Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom fertilizer has a 9% phosphorus, you will really slap these plants back into shape, and they'll really give you a good presentation. The Dr. Earth products and the fertilizers last 60 days each application, and it's 1 cup per 10 square feet. I think in terms of a hydrangea being in a 3x3 space, that's 9 square feet. Sprinkle the fertilizer on the ground under the shrubs. Don't dig it in. Our roots are very surface oriented because of so much clay. Just leave it on the ground. And if you haven't done any fertilizing, do it now, like this first week in June, and do it again the first week in August. Ideally, you would have done it the first week in May, and then again the first week in July, but it's not too late to start. Okay, so now, part shade is preferred for all of these, and which means no more than a half a day of direct sunlight. And morning sun is better than late afternoon sun, because the late afternoon sun is the real hot, drying sun. Okay, and they have minimum drought tolerant. Hydra means water. Okay, so you have to be really aware of that. Okay, you really want to maintain the soil moisture during hot, dry weather. And we're getting into that right now. Feed in early spring, and then again 6 to 8 weeks later, and with that Dr. Earth, 8 weeks later. Okay, big leaf hydrangeas, they will either be pink or they will be blue, and that depends on the soil acidity. Our soil is very, very alkaline. So if you don't do anything except water and give them just good fertilizer, they're going to be beautiful pinks. And but if you really want them blue, I'm going to give you the formula on how to make them blue at the very end of this presentation of the different varieties. And I'm going to tease you to make you pay attention to that one. Okay, and then here, let's keep going. So with Bloomstruck, with the Bloomstruck, okay, this is a mop head type, and it is the replacement for Endless Summer. And this one actually, this variety has flowered in our landscape even after 28 below zero temperatures and 58 days below zero. You can tell this was actually selected up in Minneapolis from a grower. Actually, Michael Durr selected these varieties. And so, these have very upright growth. The flowers, again, come in a multitude of colors. They range from deep, they have these beautiful deep red stems with with the red veins in the leaves. And so these are ornamental even without the flowers. They can have powdery mildew. We're seeing a lot of powdery mildew right now. I'm seeing that at the microscope because we haven't had enough rain to wash off the spore of the powdery mildew. And so, so they would benefit from being treated with, a fungicide. And I'll show you the best one in just a little bit. Okay, and these tend to get 3 feet tall and 4 feet wide. They're hardy to zone 5 at some time. Now, Summer Crush is marked. It's marketed as the red, the red macrophylla type, and it actually is really truly the deepest and richest raspberry rose flowers that are out there. And it's on a very, very, very compact plant. It's 18 to 36 inches tall and equally as wide. It has dark, dark green foliage. It's a great container potential plant, and just absolutely, absolutely, absolutely beautiful. I love this one. This is one of my favorites. And you can see the two different colors. You've got the hot pink, and then you've got the blue or the purple that that it has. Okay, the next one is called Twist and Shout, and this is a lace cap type. I love this one. This one's also very, very fragrant. It's upright. It's an upright, rounded plant. And it also has red stems and those glossy leaves that turn a rich burgundy color in the fall. The flowers can be pink or blue. This gets to be 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide, and it's a zone 4. I'm so sorry, I was distracted. Someone came in, so pardon me, everybody. Now, this is the formula to make them blue. All right, now, what you do is you start by fertilizing them, and you use this wonderful Dr. Earth. It's called Bud and Bloom Booster. They have these funny names on them called Flower Girl. I like down below, it says Bud and Bloom Booster. The formula on this is 3% nitrogen, which is really important to always have a lower nitrogen. If you give them too much nitrogen, you just get these big leafy green plants. You have a 9% phosphorus, and that's going to help the roots and the flowers. And again, this lasts 60 days, 2 whole months. So you put 1 cup around the base, sprinkle it evenly over the soil, water it in. You can also put this over mulch, and the nutrient goes right down through the mulch into the soil. Make sure you water them well and water it in well. And again, the earlier you start, the better it kicks them into bloom. But it's not too late to do it now. And so 1 cup now, and then 1 cup again, beginning of August, and they'll just stay in bloom all summer long. Now, to keep them blue, the most important thing is the Blue Magic aluminum sulfate. Aluminum is the pigment in the the main element in the pigment of hydrangeas. And then when it's combined with the sulfate and sulfur in the sulfur makes the soil acidic. And when we have aluminum available in a lower pH or an acidic soil, the plant can take it up more quickly, and then the flowers will be blue. Now, to make it work, you're going to take 1 cup of Blue Magic aluminum sulfate, dissolve it in a gallon of warm water, and then pour it right where the trunk and where the root ball is, right in the soil. And you do that every month, once a month. If you start as early as May, that's great. You can even do it in April when the soil has thawed, and then once a month all the way through October. Now, another way to keep the soil, consistently acidic in our high pH is to use straight elemental soil. That's garden soil, like the high yield soil sulfur. We also have one from Espoma called Soil Acidifier. And I just like the elemental sulfur with the high yield. And you use 1 cup around the base of each plant. And you only have to do this twice a year. So that means in April, and then repeat it again in October. And you want to get the sulfur in contact with the soil. So this is the one time that if you have mulch, you want to move the mulch away, sprinkle the sulfur, and then move the mulch back in place. And that is a very slow release. It breaks down very slowly to acidify the soil. So if you do it in April, that's going to work for 6 months to acidify in October. When you do it in October, it's going to acidify for 6 months, so it'll be acidic in the spring. So all 3 of those will keep those beautiful macrophyllus blue. All right. Okay. I'll test you later. All right. Let's keep moving. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, and we're seeing a lot of this on the macrophyllus this spring. And I'm sure there's so much because we had such a mild winter. All of these moths overwintered. And this is called the hydrangea leaf tear, or they also call them the hydrangea leaf curlers. What happens is the moth, it's a moth, it lays an egg on the plant. And then what this clever larva does is it crawls down to 3 nodes down from the tip, and it takes those leaves that are a little bit larger and fuses them together up around the 2 upper nodes. And that's what it feeds on inside that puffed area. And then it pupates. It makes a cocoon because it's a moth. And then in 2 weeks after that, it turns back into the moth and just flies out, chews its way out and flies away. Most of the samples that were coming in earlier, the moth had already gotten away. Guess what? More are coming in with the little larva in it. So this is something that can repeat throughout the season. So the easiest way is just to prune these off and dispose of them. And then new shoots will form below. But you can also spray with an insecticide. You can use the BioAdvanced Rose and Flower. Spray at dusk so you don't kill any pollinators. Bees and butterflies go back to their hives, or they go away during night to hide. Pardon me. They're not out as when this product is wet. This is absorbed into those leaves, stays in for 30 days. So if any of the larvae are feeding on those leaves, excuse me, and you can spray this on the outside of that puff. And when they're feeding on the inside, it will kill them and stop the life cycle. Another one that's wonderful is the BioAdvanced 3-in-1. It has the same insecticide. It also has a wonderful fungicide that will take care of any powdery mildew. And then it has a miticide. And with all the heat we're seeing, we're going to start seeing spider mites coming up pretty soon. So I like the all-in-one, or the 3-in-1. Pardon me. Because it's kind of the one product you need that takes care of all the products or all the problems. And then spray at dusk so you don't kill any pollinators. and then it doesn't wash off. So you do not have to run out and reapply it, when it rains. Now, we also have the 3-in-1 in a hose and sprayer. It's available, but unfortunately we sold out of it. And so if you need a hose and sprayer to cover a lot of, you have a lot of plants that you want to take care of, you can use 8 is in a hose and sprayer, and it actually has a 5-week residue. So be aware of that, but it will kill a lot of the larvae, that are there. Okay, now moving on to the Paniculata types. The Panicle Hydrangea are my favorite, and I know Tony loves the Macrophyllus, equally as well, but I really love the Panicle Hydrangea. They're from China and Japan. They're generally larger plants than the big leafed hydrangeas, and they have cone-shaped flowers rather than the round shaped ones, the dome shaped ones. These take light pruning because they flower on new wood. You really don't have to prune them at all, just pruning branches away that are growing where you don't want them. If you site these appropriately, you see what the mature size is, and you plant them in a spot that will give them the space, you really almost never need to prune these. They self-clean at the end of the flowering season. So they're amazing. I love this one. The sun is preferred, but these will actually tolerate a half day of shade and still, give you great bloom, great flower. Once these are established, they're the most heat and drought tolerant of all of the hydrangeas. They're hardy, very, very hardy. And so winter protection is not necessary on these at all. That's why I love them. Some varieties are available in both shrub forms and then a standard or tree form. And these are hardy to zone 3. Okay. Bobo, it's one of the newer introductions. And it has creamy white flowers and that are just totally profuse. Look at this. A lot of times you can't even see the leaves when all the flowers are open on this. They actually have this, creamy white, and then they finish to like a pale pink. The flowers are actually somewhat smaller than the standard panicle hydrangea. But for the plant being so small, it's such a compact plant, you don't want them as big as they would get on the other ones. These plants are actually 3 feet tall and 4 feet wide, and it just looks like just a ball of flowers out in the landscape. These are so cute. People love these, especially for the front edges of mixed borders. Here we go. Firelight. I love Firelight. It's it's early in this. It has white flowers early in the season, and then they turn pink, and then this beautiful pomegranate red. These are a larger shrub. These are 6 feet tall by 6 feet wide. Okay, Limelight. Limelight was one of the first non-white Paniculata types, and these are truly chartreuse green flowers. So people that don't like that really bright white love these. This is a large plant. This is at 7 foot tall and 7 feet wide, and this is one of them that makes a very nice tree form that can be used in a container, and you can see the example of it on in the photo to the right. There's also a little lime, and little lime is the dwarf limelight, and it matures to shades of pink. You can see the color it is in the fall. This is great for smaller gardens in the fact that it's only 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide. Pinky Winky was one of the first double colored ones, and you just can't forget that name. And it starts white. Here you can see the white bloom over in the left, and then it turns a salmony pink from the bottom of the panicle going up to the tip, and it creates this wonderful, this unique two-toned effect in late summer through fall. And these flowers are actually more open. You can see how they're more open and more open and airy than most of the Paniculata types. So it's almost like having a bouquet at the end of each branch. The plant habit is upright, and it gets 7 feet tall and only 6 feet wide. So it tends to be more of an upright, a narrow form. Beautiful, beautiful little landscape. This is one of my favorites. Okay, Quickfire is so neat. Okay, it is absolutely the very first Paniculata to flower, and it's a full month ahead of all the other varieties. The white flower is less dense than the other panicles. See how open it is? It almost looks like a lace cap. And then it finishes in this deep pink color. And that you usually see the deep pink color at the end of June going into July. And then look at the fall color on this. It's incredible, with the oranges going to burgundy. And Quickfire is 6 feet tall by 6 feet wide. And then what's even more fun is they came out with Little Quickfire. And Little Quickfire, it has again white flowers a full month before the other paniculatas. So you're going to see them at the very end of June and by early July. And then on these dwarf plants, and the flowers age that beautiful deep pink. And this only gets 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide. So these two, Quickfire and Little Quickfire, are my favorite to recommend to people, because you just get the best of all the hydrangea world. You get those gorgeous flowers early, and then all the way through this. Now, vanilla strawberry, these have large flowers that are part white, and they turn pink and kind of a strawberry from the base going up. And again, the two-tone effect is just as nice as Pinky Winky. It's a little more subtle, though, more of a strawberry pink than that really bright, pink of the Pinky Winky. Okay, it's really pretty, and it's really soft. It is a real soft effect out in the landscape. These are big shrubs, though, 7 feet tall and 5 feet wide. Okay, then if you want a smaller version, it's Strawberry Sundae. And this makes me hungry, darn. This is the dwarf version of vanilla strawberry. And you have these large white flowers, even on the dwarf plant. And they start in July, and then they age to this pink. Again, pink from the bottom up, and then you can see the photo on the right of how they've all turned, that strawberry pink. And then they actually go to that reddish, kind of a dusty red in the fall. And these are only 4 feet tall, but they do go 5 feet wide. Really nice in a mixed border, like a mixed perennial border. Okay, now Silver Dollar. Silver Dollar and is I think it's beautiful. Large, it's bridal white flowers. And they eventually age to a dusty pink, and then to like a parchment brown, for the off season. Very strong stemmed. The foliage actually is a little more glossy than all the other paniculatas. It's a large plant, very large plant, 7 to 8 feet tall by 7 to 8 feet wide, but really just dynamic in the landscape. And now one of the first ones of the paniculatas that we knew about was Tardiva. Tardiva has been around since it's been around 30 years. And it is the last of the Paniculata hydrangeas, the last of all the hydrangeas to bloom in the garden. And it's often as late as September before the flowers show up. So the cool thing is you just add one of each variety, so you have them going all the way through, the season, and then they age to a pink, a dusty pink, and then turn to this kind of this brownish pink, for the fall. This can actually get 10 feet tall. It's huge. I mean, it's absolutely huge, and 8 feet wide. So and then this is one of my favorites. This new one, Zinfandel. Okay, very dense, conical shaped flowers. And they begin with pure white. You can see in the background the pure white ones, and then they flush to this kind of sherbet pink color, and then it goes from the base of the flower up, like all the other ones, and out to the tip. And you can see the photo of it over here in the right, how they've colored all the way to the tip. And it finishes with darker shades of that raspberry. You can see them in that picture on the right. This one actually matures to 6 to 8 feet tall and 6 to 8 feet wide. So beautiful, beautiful group. I just absolutely love this. I'm watching the time. We're at 12:30. Okay, Oakley Hydrangeas. This is one that I really fell in love with when I was studying these plants in college. I liked and actually because all of these cultivars weren't around when Tony and I were in college studying. So the oak leaf, this is a US native. And so there's such a move for adding natives to your garden. This one counts. Don't you love that? Okay, it has early summer blooms on the new growth from last year's stems. Okay, so you have to be careful on pruning these. So if you are going to prune these, you prune these immediately after they flowered in the summer, because any of the new growth that forms at the end of that season is where your flower buds are going to be going forward. The oak leaf is very, very, very adaptable. In full sun, make sure it's well watered, and and then make sure you give it plenty of water in times of drought right now. And we are in a severe drought right now. It's part shade is fine for this one, and full shade is fine. It will produce more of a foliage plant if you have it in deep dark shade. It's not going to give you quite as many flowers, and that's not a problem. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. It may sustain flower bud damage, or even stem damage if the temperatures go below 10 below. And our average lowest temperature here in our zone 5 can be 20 below. So you have to watch this one a little bit. It has amazing fall color and this beautiful kind of like exfoliating or peeling tan bark. Unfortunately, deer love the foliage on this one, and rabbits will chew on the stems. So be forewarned about that, and use repellents over the winter months. These are zone 5 and zone 5 plants as well. And this is Alice. Alice is one of the best cultivars of this one. It is the largest of the oak leaf hydrangeas, both in mature plant size and also flower size. The creamy white flowers, these can be up to a foot long, and this photo really reflects that. On the mature size shrub, especially the photo over here on the right. The fuzzy dark green foliage has a real great textural addition to the landscape, and especially when it has this burgundy red fall color. And the leaves are shaped like oak leaves. They have different nodes on them. It's very, very vigorous, especially Alice. Even this far north, and it really, this one has the potential to go 8 to 10 feet wide and 8 to 10 feet, tall. Okay, ruby slippers. I love this plant. I absolutely love this plant. Ruby slippers it has 9-inch long white panicles that turn they turn pink really quickly in the growing season, and then they finish to this ruby red color. And it has look at the fall color, that gorgeous mahogany fall color, incredible. And this is really great for the small partial shade sites. It's 3 feet tall and 4 feet wide. Of all the oak leaf, this is my favorite, ruby slippers. And I love the name. I just sold one to a person yesterday, and she loved the name of it, as a gift. She was giving it as a gift. So I thought that was really cute. Now, Gatsby Gal, this is very large, and it has, very full, creamy white summer flowers that progress to pink and then to a wine red color. It has beautiful, nice dark green summer foliage, and then look at the fall color. It goes maroon purple with edges of red. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. And this one gets to be 5 to 6 feet tall and 5 to 6 feet wide. And this shows you the way that the leaves look, you know, so it has that oak leaf, much bigger oak leaves than most oaks, but it has that oak leaf lobing on it. And that's Gatsby Gal. And then Peewee is really cute too. It is a more finer textured than the straight species because the leaves are smaller, the flowers are smaller, and the plant is smaller. But it still has the same creamy white flowers and the beautiful reddish purple fall color that I showed you in the last plant. It is grown. You need to give it at least 5 hours of sun, you know, a day to get that great fall color and that many plants that you're looking at in this picture. It's only 3 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. I love the picture. I added this picture on the bottom right, showing that this is 1, 2, 3 plants in a planting bed next to a tree and along a sidewalk. And because, you know, they only stay 3 feet tall and 4 feet wide, it's easy to control, you know, the space that they're in. I love the placing of the Peewee in that fence, in that corner of the fence in the upper photo. I just think it's a beautiful way to use, you know, this wonderful plant. Now we're down to the last group, and these are the climbing hydrangea. And boy, what an incredible plant. These are also from Asia, and it's Hydrangea anomala subspecies petiolaris. And I think they've actually changed it now to just Hydrangea petiolaris. Tony and I learned it as a subspecies of anomala, but this is also from Asia. And this is actually the queen of adhering vines. And those are vines that adhere to rough surfaces. And these will grow in sun or shade. And they're hardy to zone 4. They're hardy to zone 4. The straight species is just incredible. Look at this. And I love how they hold the flowers out away from the foliage. And it's just, they have these elegant leathery green leaves and this a wonderful peeling bark that, you know, kind of it resembles a river birch, you know, peeling bark. They have beautiful white flowers in early summer. They're in bloom right now out on the plants. But it does take a while for the plants to get established. It can take up to 3 to 5 years to get them large enough to produce the flowers. They actually have a clear golden yellow fall color. And these are really shade tolerant. And so I love always recommending this for people that say, oh, what can I have for shade? And then Miranda is, it resembles the species, but it's variegated, and it actually is a little slower growing because of the variegated foliage, and it actually has those yellow borders, and they mature to a beautiful deep lime green in the summertime, and again clear gold fall color, and the white flowers. This is a beautiful one. You just can't beat these. Okay, now we're at the very end, and the final reminder is to treat all, and you can shape your hydrangeas up by using the bud and bloom booster on them. And again, 1 cup around the base of each plant, putting it on the soil, spreading it over the, you know, that 10 square feet or that 9 square feet directly under the shrub, right on the soil. Don't dig it in. Our roots of all of our plants tend to be very surface oriented because of the heavy clay component. So just leave it and just water it in regularly, and you'll be amazed how your hydrangeas shape up and start acting right. Okay. What I'm going to do is take this off of the shared screen, and then I'm going to address the questions. Okay, I'm back, and here we go. Here's the questions and answers going up here. All right. This is okay. Okay, here we go. And Mike, I think this is Susan again. Yeah, greetings, Jennifer from Susan. I came inside to watch the webinar and to cool off. Oh, good. I have an old hydrangea I bought before they were popular, so I do not know its name. What happened is it tipped over last fall in a big wind. And we put it back in the ground and staked it, but it has tiny leaves. What should I feed it to help it? It has gotten a lot of water. Okay, Susan, the best thing to use is that Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom Booster. So that's going to give, what's wonderful about it is it's derived from the fish waste industry. And then it also has beneficial bacteria to feed the soil and beneficial mycorrhizae. So I would do that and then keep it. The other thing you might want to do, since it seems like it got uprooted, you might want to use root and grow on it. And do several applications over the next 8 weeks as the roots are still getting established. Although if I didn't see when this happened. You set it back up, I think last this spring. Anyway, root and grow and bud and bloom booster should do the trick. Excuse me. And today in my Yeti, everybody, I have iced coffee because it's so warm outside. Okay, now Sandra, when does it bloom first? Oh my gosh, Sandra, I don't know when this came at 12:30. So I'm sure that you're talking about the Paniculata types. So the first bloom time for Paniculatas is usually in July. Now, so then you go with the early blooming one, like Quickfire, that blooms at the end of June, middle of June. So I think I got that timing. Oh, I missed Jamie. Okay, so Jamie, if I applied bone meal the first week in May to my summer crush and endless bummers, if I did, how soon can I apply Dr. Earth? You know what? Bone meal used to be good back before they cleaned all the blood off of it. And so it's a slow release. It takes 6 months for it to do anything to release any of the phosphorus. So go ahead and do the Dr. Earth ASAP, okay? And then don't bother to use bone meal anymore. It's just, what can happen is it'll encourage carnivores to dig in your garden. So use a good product like Dr. Earth. And I answered Sarah. Okay, and an anonymous attendee. My house came with an existing set of hydrangea. How can I identify what they are? Ooh, anonymous. That's a good question. What you can do is I don't know how long you've been in your house, but see if kind of determine if they've ever bloomed. If they haven't bloomed, then they're probably the macrophylla types. So what you want to do is put some Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom Booster on them. And then the other thing you want to do is cut the tips, cut an inch off of every tip right now. And then, keep them well watered. You'll get lateral buds that will form. And this year of all years, because we had such a mild winter, they may do something if they were the macrophylla types, or even if they were the old Nico blooms and All Summer Beauty were the first colored ones that we had, and they did nothing but disappoint you because they only bloom from old wood. But see what happens, anonymous, okay? Oh, here we go. And then Anne Berkeley, once again, what name? Once again, what name the first Oakley variety and its size? Right before Alice. Okay, the first Oakley. Well, the first Oakley was, I was just talking about the generic, and the one just before the first Oakley was Zinfandel. It was Zinfandel. And Zinfandel is the Paniculata type, and the Zinfandel would flower in July. I hope that did it for you, Anne. Okay, Mary Joyce Robbins. You guys have great questions here. Okay, Mary Joyce Robbins. Just to clarify, the Bud and Bloom Booster is for any hydrangeas, right? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Any of the hydrangeas will really respond beautifully to the Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom. Okay, it comes in a 4-pound bag and also a 12-pound bag. And there's 2 cups each pound. So the 4-pound will have enough to do 8 hydrangeas. The 12-pound one will do 24 treatments, or 24 hydrangeas, or 12 hydrangeas 2 times. Who says you'll never use math, huh? Okay, this is great. Okay, now Sandra again. Okay, Sandra, what do you think of the LA Dreaming hydrangea? You know what? I think it's, I don't know why we didn't include this in here. I think it's a beautiful one. I think it's a beautiful one. So, thank you. And the LA Dreaming, it's one of the macrophylla types, and it gets to be 5 feet tall by 5 feet wide. It's really beautiful. It's a gorgeous one. Good question. I'm sorry we didn't include that on there. Okay, then Joy. Annabelle's are to be fertilized in spring, and the others 8 weeks apart, and the others. You can do the Annabelles also twice, 8 weeks apart, because that will just help. That just helps it. It will help it. Anytime you give it the building blocks it needs to keep, keep producing and producing side shoots and things like that. Okay, and then, all right. Okay, quickfire. Okay, Sandra, you got me totally confused, but I'm glad it's quickfire. I love quickfire. Yeah, because it blooms as early as June, mid-June. Okay, and here's Susan again. My twist and shout has some flower buds. Should I trim off the tips right now? No. If you've got flower buds forming on the twist and shout, it's actually a pretty reliable bloomer. So just give it the fertilizer and just watch it go. Okay, great questions. Okay, anonymous, and I have another anonymous. The handout says smooth flowers on current year stems, but a previous year's handout said flowers on new and old stems. Okay, smooth flowers. The smooth flowers on current year stems. Well, it's new shoots that emerge from the current year stems. I think Tony changed that on from his previous handout. He modified that. So and so yes, you'll get and that's talking about Sandra. That's anonymous again. I'm sorry. That's talking about the Annabelle types. Okay, glad to get this clarified. I'm glad you kept your old notes too. Okay, and this is Alexis Washa. How do you care for a hydrangea tree? Oh, the same way you would care for the shrub form. You just and if it's in the ground, you keep it and again, which variety? If it's a Paniculata type, you might want to prune back the branches of the grafted on the tree form. The shrub is actually grafted to a straight stem, and then you can prune those back a third at the beginning of every spring, a third of the length, and then on the paniculatas they produce new wood, and then you get the shape back. So and then keep them well watered and fertilize them. Do that fertilizer every 60 days. And then also if you most of the paniculatas, you don't have to worry about changing. You don't change the color. So just the fertilizer and water is all you need on those. Okay, here we go. Judy, if using the bioadvanced insect disease and mite control, how often do you apply? And do you apply? Oh, prophylactically. Yes, absolutely. And you do that once every 30 days. Great questions. Okay, here we go. And then Sandra Stearns again. Quickfire was the one that bloomed the earliest. Quickfire is the one that blooms in the earliest. Quickfire and little quickfire. Glad we got that clarified. Okay, now Tanya, which ones you mentioned are the most fragrant? Ooh, that's a good question. Twist and Shout is the most fragrant, and then the macrophyllus I think are more fragrant than the other paniculatas. Good question, Tanya. And Joy, if you do have a hydrangea in a pot, How do you keep it over winter? What you want to do is you want to move the container next to an interior wall. And I like to put it on the east side of, of the building, away from the winter sun. And you can also put on the north side away from the northwest corner. And when you have it snug up next to the building, that helps modify, the extreme temperatures. You can also let them go dormant and then move them into a garage. And then, you just make sure the soil, you water it just once a month. You want to keep it dormant, but you just don't want it to get bone dry. Great, 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 great question. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment that you enjoy the classes. Thank you so much. Here we go. And then Usha, on Twist and Shout. Okay. Twist and Shout still are brown sticks. Can they be cut now? Yes. On any of the hydrangeas that you're seeing still brown stems, prune those down to just above where you're seeing new green growth. And it's late enough in the season now that they definitely will not have any buds coming out of those. So now it's a good time to clean those up. Great, great, great. I'm gonna get rid of this. Someone, Ann Berkeley. Thank you. Very helpful. Thank you. Thanks for the thanks, everybody. You all are wonderful. There are 2 comments on the chat. So I'm going to go over there to check. Here we go. How should a hydrangea tree be cared for? Oh, you did that on both places, Alexis. Okay, so I took care of that. And thank you. I had no idea what this was. Wow, Carolyn, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I hope it was a nice surprise. Okay, and everybody, it is now 5 minutes till 1. We finished on time. Tony would be so proud of us. He always liked to keep everything, right on time. He likes to keep it on time, and he would be so proud of us that we saved all the questions till the end. That's one of his things. He likes to save questions to the end. So everybody, thank you so much. I'm gonna put all the question and answer columns down. And we still have 40 people. Thank you so much for staying tuned in, and thank you for supporting all of our wonderful virtual learning sessions. Next week is going to be, I'm doing the presentation on hostas and shade-loving plants that love to live with hostas. So it's going to be a fun one too. And just in time for this hot weather, we can hide in the shade this way. So thank you so much. All right, it is now 12:56. Oh, one more question came up. Let me check this one. Hold on. One more question. There we go. Oh, it's just a wonderful thank you from Stephanie Clam. Thank you so much. And Carrie Codell, yes, great class. Thanks. Which are the hydrangeas you recommend for potting? Oh gosh, that's okay. The ones for potting, one of the smooth hydrangeas, the mini Mauvette is great. Invincibelle Ruby would be a great one for potting. Then on the Paniculata types, the little quick fire, you could do that one in a pot. Also, that's only 4x4, and then on the Oakley Hydrangeas, Peewee would be wonderful, and ruby slippers. Okay, hey, you caught me just in time. All right, hope you got that. Hope you were still tuned in. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the nursery today. All right, thank you. Great presentation. Thank you, Rowena, and from again, Carolyn Parker. Thank you. Really appreciated it. Okay, I'm signing off now. All right. Thanks, everybody.